Hi everyone, it's Jerry. I'm going to do another group of puzzles in this video and just share my train of thought along the way. Spend about 15 minutes here and feel free to treat this as a mini training session for yourself, pausing the video. In this first one, it's white to move. So what's grabbing my attention with this one? All right, well, we're down a bishop. It's a bishop versus two pawns imbalance. There's a check on f7. We have this nice battery as well. Drawn to this move as a start. And why is that the case? Well, for one, the rook takes is not really there. We have an unprotected queen here on e5. So there's only two options. This should really be the first one to consider. So knight f7, rook takes, we win the queen. And the only other option is rook takes, but that would now leave the back rank vulnerable. So we're cutting into the position. So I think how this is going to play, I think this is the move. I'm not really sure what other candidate move there is for this first one. So I'm going to say knight f7 check, rook takes, rook check, bishop takes, rook recaptures. If the knight blocks there, we just take the knight with the rook or queen in that position for checkmate. And the only other continuation would be the rook to fall back to block. And in that case, we take the rook, rook recaptures, and then we track down the queen. It should say puzzle end at that stage. Yeah, it probably will. If it did continue, I doubt it will, but if it did continue, we're grabbing the knight next. There is a fork in the end after we pick off the queen. So I'm going to put this one on. I don't think there's really a second candidate move here. Knight f7 it is. This is a consistent follow-up, taking advantage of the newly weakened back rank. It does carry on. And this should be the final move. And it is. Okay. Let's move on here. We're going to continue training. This here, black to move. Oh. All right, well, this is almost certainly the first move. What else could it be? So let me try to anticipate where exactly that king is going to go and what we're going to do in each case. Or maybe I should just put on that first move. Yeah, I'll actually start it off where I make this first move. I'm pretty sure it can't be anything but that. So let's consider here. So what I'm looking for next is a stable square for my king. Also, let's see. If here's a nice approach, I think. If I start out with this, there's an issue. And I believe that issue is not king here, but rather king here. And I think the king comes around. If we come around like this, the knight is there to bother us. Pick off the pawn. There's more calculation involved, but my initial feel is that this push is giving a window for the king to step up and make it difficult for us to make progress. See, if we start with this one and the knight, let's say, goes here, after king here, there will be no bothering the king. It's stable. And also no preventing the follow-up mate. So what does this mean? Well, also, we go with the other pawn push. There's king here. Once more sort of boxing our king out. So I believe by elimination, we get this one. Recognizing we produce gaps in both cases if we move the pawns. Pretty sure the king has to go here on move 1. And the idea, I believe, from there, after the king move, the knight's probably going to go here and be in a spot to bother our king. So we're going to need to carve out this square quickly for our king. And I believe the way to do it then, this here, we give this check, and if the king goes here, it'll be a checkmate in 2. So king here, knight here. Maybe it goes here as well. But I believe in both cases we're giving this king a check. King goes there. And before this knight could get here, I believe we go ahead and land another check. King takes pawn. And then we step up here. We'll be sacrificing a pawn, but in that position, there won't be a way to prevent the pawn from getting down there to promote. So I'm going to put this one on. It is the correct first move. And we go ahead and give this king a kick now. That is correct. And is there... I'm pretty sure this is the answer. Also, there's no worry. I don't have a worry about a knight somehow landing a fork once we queen, because we'll be queening with check. So push takes here, no check, and we're promoting next with check. The knight cannot guard this square in one move. I'm just wondering about move order. Like, oh, well, I'm being silly now. If the king goes here first, the knight is there in time. So we have to sneak this pawn move in while we can with check. Okay, and then definitely here, and finally promote to a queen. Okay, I want to make a note here. In the puzzles I've been doing so far, I've really just been treating this button here is like it's a next button. So I'll be a little bit more critical from now on, thinking or rating these as good or bad. So I think this is a perfectly good puzzle. Give it a thumbs up and move on. All right, black to move here. Well, we're in check. I don't know what else there is besides swiping the knight. We got to start out with this one. Yeah, okay, so we take here and then take the pawn. And I believe our bishop will be around to secure these pawns here. Okay, it has to be this as a start, because otherwise we're losing this pawn and our king would be out of position. We got to grab the material. Yeah, I'm not really a big fan of the puzzles that start out in this way. So I might be giving this one a thumbs down. Okay, what else can it be besides tracking this pawn down? Not really seeing it. I mean, how far is this one going to play out? Boom, boom. Maybe boom, boom, and then here. Yeah, that's probably it. We hang on to some pawns. Our bishop could be dislodged, like with that. We take, king takes pawn, but our bishop here, pawn here, versus these two. Plant our bishop here, and that buys our king time to march all the way over here and scoop up the white pawns. So we scoop up the pawn, and maybe it takes it out to this one move here. We don't move with the king. I'm going to say our bishop quickly gets into position here. And yeah, it's okay. It's a puzzle solve. So let me just see what the evaluation is after this. Yeah, that's an only move. Okay. So it could have been taken out a little bit further. I don't think that's a reason to give it a thumbs down, but I'm going to give it a thumbs down, though. Actually, I'm not really a fan of the start position so much. I don't know. Am I a thumbs down or not? Yeah, I'm not really a fan of the start position there. Okay, anyhow, moving on here. We have white to move, especially for that level puzzle. I think that was rated 2100. Something seems off there. All right, this one here, white to move. Let's see. We are down a knight. What do we got? Body count here. We have 6 pawns versus 5 pawns. We have a pawn versus knight. Let's say this pawn versus knight in bounds. Tension between the bishops. This queen feels like she's almost trapped. Unprotected knight. Unprotected rook. Might view it like that. Ah. That just gave me the answer, I think. Okay, well, let's wait a second here. Also, this is worth noting that we have to act fast. There's a problem here on D1, so I'm thinking we start with this, stripping it to a point where it's a true, just unprotected rook here on D8, rather than this idea, one attacker, one defender, it's unprotected. We swipe the rook, rook recaptures. And then I believe the idea is to initiate another capture. Is that actually true? Let's see, because rook takes. I was thinking we follow up with this, and after the knight recaptures, we go with queen takes c7, bothering those two pieces. But the rook is defended in that position. The only thing that's undefended would be the knight, and there's a queen move. For instance, to f3. And that position is available, defending the knight, which is defending the rook. Where do we go from there? So I think maybe the idea is to take and then immediately take on c7. So keep this tension. Don't pull the knight in a spot where it defends the rook. So I think after the rook exchange, queen takes c7, is there a way to defend these 2 points? Bishop can't do it. The knight could move and defend the rook, but that would hang the bishop. And maybe that's a reason to leave that bishop right where it's at in that position. So chop, chop, chop. I'm not seeing a way the queen could move and defend these two. Is there an accident going to happen here? That's sort of scary. Rook takes. Rook takes. Queen takes. Knight check. Okay, I think in response to knight check we don't take. We're gonna have to play king here. Because I believe in that position, if knight takes and we take, queen takes, and even if we swipe this rook, that battery is going to kill us. We'd really just have to hope for a perpetual check at that stage. So, all right, I'm going to put this one on. I believe the start here is going to be to swipe rooks. It is. And I'm pretty sure it's this as move 2. It is. Okay, and it's going for this line, capturing the bishop. And in this case, we take the rook first with check. I wonder if it carries out any further. Like after we take the rook, maybe we come back with check and go after this instead. And go into a 1 queen and pawn ending. Maybe puzzle end? Yeah, it's a puzzle end. Okay, I think that was a fine one there. A little bit curious about... I want to just confirm if we went with this and then initiated this capture here. Yeah, queen takes pawn is an only move. If we take the bishop here, knight takes, queen takes c7. Yeah, there it is. Queen e4, queen f3 are both cool. And we're not getting the material back. So, okay. Move on. I think that's a fine puzzle. We'll do one more. Okay, this here, white to move. All right, I'm drawn to this check. Yeah, I'm drawn to this check for sure. Because what is this bishop doing? Nothing to bother the king. And it's not like it's safeguarding our king. Let's see, so a bishop check. Yeah, this is definitely the first one to consider. There's only one legal move. King there. But then there's the question, what exactly is the follow-up? Okay, hang on. Okay, I'm gonna call an audible. Why not start with this one? This is a checkmate in 2. See, you just don't know what we're getting with this mixed bag of puzzles. It's a mate in 2. We start off with this one. See, this check king here. I just wasn't seeing a good follow-up. But queen check here, regardless of how black blocks, our follow-up move is checkmate. All right, I'm gonna put this one. On. Queen check, and there you go, a checkmate in 2 to end this one. Okay, I'm gonna call it quits right there. Stick with just the bite-sized version of these videos, 15-minute, about 15 minutes. Feel free, as usual, to leave any feedback to this video in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed it and maybe took a thing or two away. That's all for now. Take care.